From Simon Pegg revealing the moment he thought Tom Cruise might die, to a behind-the-scenes clip that had our hearts in our throats. Here's why Tom Cruise's co-workers fear he could die. The man might be in his 60s, but he insists on doing all of his own stunts. This might be why Simon Pegg, his co-star on Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, called him one of the last remaining movie stars of the old kind. Tom Cruise has Hollywood in a chokehold with his many hits. The Mission Impossible franchise is the one he's best known for. Fans all over the world love to see him do death-defying stunts on screen. But according to Pegg, his co-stars always have their hearts in their throats, fearing he might die doing one of his stunts someday. Pegg talked about how committed Tom is to giving audiences the very best. "I'll be the first one to admit that the Top Gun superstar might not have the best reputation there is." What with all that Scientology stuff? Pegg agrees, actually. He told outlets that while Tom has this mist around him, within that mist is the most generous and kind-hearted man you'll ever meet. His co-star recalled the first day they worked on set together, some 20-odd years ago, and said that Tom was the first person in Hollywood who actually made him feel at home. The two share a close personal friendship off-screen too, which means Simon gets all the queasier watching Tom leap from buildings. And yes, he does leap from those buildings by himself, supported by bungee cords, obviously. But Tom's one of Hollywood's rare celebrities who refuses to let a stunt double step in. Why would he, when it's all the more fun getting to do all of his stunts himself? But according to Simon, it wasn't fun for his co-stars to watch him ride a motorcycle off a cliff. The actor commended Tom for his commitment to giving his fans their money's worth, but admitted that he and several of his co-stars tried to talk Tom out of a very dangerous action sequence. I'm talking about the scene in Dead Reckoning when Tom jumps off a motorcycle and into a ravine. The Mission Impossible actor admitted it was one of his deadlier stunts, saying that everyone knew they'd either be moving on with production or having to do a complete rehaul of the Mission Impossible franchise. He didn't come out right and say it, but he did imply that everyone thought it was do or die here. Some of the other actors he's worked with called him equal parts inspiring, equal parts terrifying. Vanessa Kirby hit the nail on the head with this description of Tom Cruise. She worked with the megastar on Top Gun Maverick. She said that she'd heard of the stunt in the 2023 action-adventure film, but she knew that if there was ever a guy for the job, it was Tom. Vanessa told the press that it was inspiring to watch the actor work. He's so overly committed to his roles that he makes sure he gives it his all, even if his all means his life. Pom Klementieff, Tom's co-star in Mission Impossible, said that there was a sense of relief, knowing that Tom had done even more dangerous stunts in the past and made it out unscathed. She also claimed that it was comforting to know that Christopher McQuarrie would be the one directing the scene. There was no way Chris would just let his superstar die, even if the scene almost certainly guaranteed it. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 has been halted for the summer of 2024. But seeing Tom market the film on the red carpet, it's safe to assume that he defied all odds in the motorcycle scene. But Pom's actually wrong about one thing. Tom Cruise has been scathed more than a few times while doing his own stunts. In 2022, the Mission Impossible star made an appearance on The Graham Norton Show, alongside his co-stars. The film, as you probably know, was one of the most highly anticipated films of 2022, but it just kept getting delayed and pushed back from one release date to the next. Fans wanted to know what was up, and Graham Norton let it all slip on his show. The host asked Tom to share his side. That's when his co-stars chimed in, saying that the series megastar had actually shattered his ankle while performing one of his stunts. In one scene, Tom's Ethan Hunt is chasing Henry Cavill's August Walker, but he's not just chasing him on the street or anything. Oh no, that wouldn't be on par with Mission Impossible. He's actually chasing him across rooftops. In the scene, Ethan Hunt has to jump from one roof to the other, but fumbles when he makes it across. That whole misstep actually made its way into the final cut of Fallout. But according to his co-stars, the misstep was played off in the film as Ethan just being human, while in reality, Tom had broken his ankle when he actually did fumble and hit the side of the building. Production had to be halted for weeks because Tom refused to let a stuntman step in. I know what you're thinking right now. Why won't the guy just give in already and let a stuntman do his job? Well, I'll tell you what the Top Gun star had to say about that himself. You see, getting the right shot with a stuntman in the picture is a lot harder than you think. We've seen several movie fails over the years where stuntmen and women show up despite post-production editing, and it just makes for a massive editing failure. It takes a lot of time, effort, and technicality. so Tom's cutting it all down by doing all the work himself. In Fallout, his co-stars actually wished he'd budge for once. After breaking his ankle, production had to be halted for well over 6 weeks, and the film producers had to pay out over $80 million to the cast and crew to keep them from picking up other projects during the hiatus. Tom was actually told to rest up for 8 weeks by his doctors, but the actor realized those extra 2 weeks would cut into the movie's budget, and Fallout wouldn't be the success it was destined to be. So what did he do? He limped back to the set. One of his co-stars didn't know about Tom's coveted rule. Shea Whigham was so inspired by the actor's commitment that he actually insisted on doing his own stunts for Dead Reckoning 2. Variety caught up with the actor to ask him about his experience working with Hollywood's finest, and Shea admitted it was unlike anything he'd ever seen before. The actor revealed that he was a little skeptical about the whole Tom does his own stunts rumor in Hollywood, and for sure thought that it was smoke and mirrors. But he was pleasantly surprised when he saw the Top Gun actor gearing up for the motorcycle scene. In fact, it inspired him so much that he told Chris he wanted to do his own stunts too. Shea did confess that none of his stunts came close to what Tom was cast to do, but he did most of his dangerous off-road driving himself, like scenes where his character chases Ethan Hunt through Rome. Yeah, that's Shea in the driver's seat. Tom talked a little more about that infamous stunt, saying that it was one of the first things he told Chris that he'd be preparing for. In fact, Vanessa, his co-star in the film, revealed that Tom was committed to getting that scene just right, that he actually practiced that same death-defying scene multiple times. One time would have been more than enough for us regular folk, but Tom had to perfect it. It wouldn't be a Mission Impossible film without an impossible stunt like that. A behind-the-scenes clip from the stunt revealed all the moving parts that it took to make sure that Tom didn't actually die during that scene. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is set to hit theaters in July 2023, and ahead of its release, Hollywood's abuzz with details of that one motorcycle scene. Well, we now have an inside look into just what it took to guarantee that the scene made its way into the final cut of the film. Did you know that the scene was the first one to be filmed for the MI installment? Yep. The cast and crew packed up and headed to Iceland, where the whole cliff-jumping sequence was set up. In the behind-the-scenes clip, Tom can be heard saying, "Why am I doing this? This is a bad idea. Let's do this." Cruise shared the clip on Twitter with the caption, "Why are we doing this? Because it's Mission Impossible." I couldn't have said it any better myself. So, from a behind-the-scenes clip that had our hearts in our throats, to Simon Pegg revealing the moment he thought Tom Cruise might actually die, that was everything about why Tom Cruise's co-workers fear he could die.